All right, welcome to the June 10th workshop for the Cannon County Board of Education. We always begin the workshop and the meeting with public comment. If there are none, there's no one signed in tonight. We just want the community and everyone present to remember that that is an option. On Thursday night, we'll have the Good Citizenship Award, the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence, and the Cannon County Employee Spotlight, followed by the roll call. Tonight, we'll go to the first piece of business. Number one is the agenda. Does anybody have anything they need to add or talk about concerning the agenda? Okay. As far as tonight, we are going to be moving a few things around due to some obligations of some people that are going to be talking on this agenda tonight. And so when we get to those items, I'll tell you what we're going to join together. The second item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Tonight we have this month we have three things on the consent agenda: to approve the minutes of the May 8th meeting. That's A. B is the approval for Kayla Edwards to be a faculty assistant volleyball coach and assistant softball coach. And of course, that's always contingent on a current background check and drug test. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
She's already the softball.
That's what I thought.
So it's just the volleyball.
Just the volleyball.
Yes,
so we need to strike that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Liddy. All right, and then C is to approve overnight and out-of-state trips, but there's no trips. Everything's already been approved in previous month. Number 3 on the agenda is the financial report, and that's going to be tonight only, I believe, Mr. Douglas.
Nothing, we're winding it down. The first June payroll hit the books today, so we've got 2 more. Maybe it won't be too long, we'll hit that, but we're gonna put some money in fund balance. I don't know how much. And we also got our bill from Tennessee Risk Management, and I underestimated and overestimated in places, but overall I had underestimated a little bit. But we'll be okay. We'll be able to cover it, no problem. Just winding it down, and that's about it.
Anybody have any questions for Douglas? Thank you so much for your work and always being here. All right, number 4 tonight is the ESSER report. Oh, there she is. She's always here. Usually, anyway. Miss Stephanie.
I just included that. There are no changes as far as we know. We're done with that. So I assume that moving into the next fiscal year, we will not have that on the agenda any longer. So I just wanted to finish out this fiscal year. Make sure that I cover all of them.
Thank you so much. I wonder if any of us would ever thought we would see the end of the ESSER report.
I know.
Now what are you gonna do?
Look at my supervisor's updates.
I know. Just kidding.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Number 5, speaking of supervisor reports, is only tonight, of course. That's all the supervisor reports you can find in your board packet. Are there any questions from any board members for supervisors or any supervisors that need to add anything? Good to go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for always making sure that's in there. All right, number 6 is the discussion of acquiring the land next to Cannon County Elementary and Cannon County Middle. That was formerly called the Hoover property. We tabled that from April. And now tonight it is back on the agenda. Is there any comments, discussion, anything at all?
I'm just leaving it in the hands of the board to take a look, but if no one has that vision, then it'll be what it'll be.
Well, we have a vision, we understand the future, it's just the logistics of it, the money, and everything. Look at, there's just been so many bad choices in the past from like, just years and years and years of things that have put us in where we're at now, the Band-Aids. and stuff. And so now we're trying to catch up. We've got so much going on right now, you know, with all these stuff, you know, the state says, you know, you gotta do this and this and this, and then not helping us out budget wise. You know, like, oh, you gotta do this, but you gotta figure out how to pay for it. Just thoughts.
Thank you. Anything else, Wade? Not at all?
That's all I got.
All right, number 7, and this is where we're gonna pull a few together. Number 7, and then we're also gonna pull at this time 11, 12, 13, and 20. We will stay in that order, 7, 11, 12, 13, and 20. We're gonna start with 7, and that's to approve the football fieldhouse flooring. That was tabled from May the 8th. Melanie?
Okay, so I got more information on that, and that is, they are actually gonna do that work for free, so that was correct on that. The only thing that they're asking maintenance to do is to pull the toilets and reset them. So the company just is, they'll do all the work, it's completely paid for, we just have to pull the toilets and reset it, but that's all we have to do. So, I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing, the rules is still the same, I think getting it Lydia to hang the sign
Yes, ma'am.
for, yeah. So I think that we just have to advertise for them for the next 7 years.
And once a month, the weightlifter of the month, which our football team has done for the last, it's been going on 2 years. The weightlifter of the month will be the Titan Flooring weightlifter of the month, is the social media. So once a month, they get a shout out on our social media. And then I think the packet I sent you, I think that I answered all the questions that y'all had.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that again. Thank you, Melanie. You're welcome. Any questions from anybody else? Now let's look at number 11. The removal of lab tables from room 205 at CCHS.
Okay, so that one is, Mr. Nichols wants to do that one, so I'll just let him talk to you about that one, because it's just,
They're no longer in use anymore. I think Melanie has had to cut off the water supply to some of those to make that room more conducive to pulling the kids closer to up to the front of the classroom. These lab tables are sticking out. She's wanting to keep the ones along the walls. It's just the ones that come out from the side walls there, and they're not being used. So
Just like a few tables in the room,
there's 1, 2, 4, I believe.
so there'll still be the side tables from
The
side.
signs on the sidewalls are still going to be used. Yes, it's just these lab tables that are sticking out. That have the water access and the electricity there. We'll have to just move that.
This is the biology classroom.
This is the biology classroom. Yes.
They're actually not tables.
They're not, it's a lab.
It's a lab. It was designed as those lab stations. They're like octagon, and they could gather around there and do experiments. It used to have gas there. It was state of the art when it was designed. It's very similar to what the chemistry room
Right.
is.
Well, it
now.
was the chemistry room back. when
It
Miss
was. I taught right next to it. Miss Arnold used it.
Yes.
As such. Mr. Sonderman, when he taught biology, used it. So they're not tables. So it's not just picking a table up. You're going to have to deal with electricity and water. Because there's water lines there.
But there's no water going to it, right?
we just capped them all. They're still in the tables that they're talking about. And we just capped it off because she didn't like the kids fooling with it because they would make them drip all the time. So no, we left the water lines. They're still running in there. We just took the faucets off and capped them right there because we was afraid somebody would come back and want to use them. So then we would just have to uncap them and put the, faucets back on there.
There's still gas in it too.
There's gas
There's
lines.
gas lines there, but it's not hooked up outside. So it's a
It was cut
propane,
off.
it's a propane tank.
It's cut off.
Yeah, it's cut off.
So what are we gonna do at the stations? Once they're removed?
Not have them there, dispose of them.
I mean,
I don't mean that, I'm not.
no, I'm just saying, but what if we need them again one day, if teacher changes and they wanna go back to,
Yeah, I just don't see that in the near future, if that ever happening. Putting those back in there.
Well, that's my question is,
Right.
did we ever think we would use it again in that capacity?
I just do not.
I get everything?
I understand.
Thank you.
Do we know how much it's gonna cost?
No, but I mean, it'll be a pretty big project, because they have plumbing going to them, electric going to them, so all that has to be cut out and removed. And then you gotta figure out what's underneath them. I mean, if you don't have tile underneath there, you're gonna have to, lay tiles as well.
Summer project.
Yeah, not this summer, but yeah, it would be a summer project.
So is this something that your team could do, or are you gonna have to hire?
The water part, no, Rex is the plumber, so he can, get rid of the water part. The electric part, I think could just, be removed back into the other cabinets that's gonna stay on the wall. And then the tile will be a big issue. And, I mean, that is, what kind of countertop is that? It's marble looking, but it's not,
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's
gotta
like-
cut.
Fire resistant.
It's pretty heavy duty. Tabletop.
So, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, that's something we'll have to look at. I mean, honestly, we'll have to look at it, the guys have to look at it as a team to see, how to cut that, and make it look, well, I mean, it's not gonna be an easy project, I'll just say that.
Do we need to wait and find out pricing of first before we do anything?
I mean, we definitely need to get a price of it, because I think we're gonna have to go under the floor. I mean, I think you'll have to lay new tiles. You'll have to lay new floor. Now, I can give you guys pictures if y'all wanting pictures. I mean, it's not like it's they're little. I mean, they are big. The plumbing and electricity will be the very least of our problems. It'll be cutting that, cabinet and making it, look decent.
Anybody else have any more questions?
Unfortunately, I think it's one of those things you don't know until you get into
Yeah.
the
Before you get
project.
into it.
Yeah, it's like building something or remodeling. You don't know what you're gonna get into. You really don't.
Won't you just come back when that point in time happens? With pictures and price, and
Okay. I mean, yeah.
all we can do is approve and take it out, right now? And then in the future, she's gonna take it out. She said not anytime soon, right?
Well, it can't happen, no,
Right.
we got some big projects going on right now, so it's not gonna happen anytime this summer. I don't see it happening. You might could, we might could start, but I don't wanna do that while she's trying to have class. I'd rather just know that's a big project for next summer. If that's the case, then we go into it knowing next summer that'll be our first big project to hit. We would hit it in June, the very 1st of June, and get it done and over with.
I'm fine with that. I mean, if we want to table that and just get the price, and then let's explore that as an option.
We can table it, or we could do like a motion to go forward doing the investigation behind and stuff like that, just figure it out. Yeah, if it's gonna have to be that long.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Number 12, I think this is gonna go to the two of y'all as well. Removal of a set of lockers at Cannon County High School.
Okay, now that is, Homeland Security did suggest to do that last year when we was walking around with them. They say that they have big concerns with lockers in schools, and if we're gonna have them, we have to have the doors have to be closed and locked, whether you have students using them or not. So that means if we don't have a student that has a lock on them, then the school would have to buy a lock and put them there. But they just say it's a safety issue. So they don't really love lockers. They're trying to get away from them. Of Courtney has a lot of sets that don't have, half the doors are missing and stuff, so I think that what we need to do, if we're gonna do it, is just take a section at a time. I mean, that, again, that's a lot of lockers over there. He wants the first set removed, which is right outside of Lydia and his office, which is not gonna take us that long. I'm hoping the inmates can actually help me remove those. And then they're gonna paint behind it, and then the only other thing is, if it doesn't have tiles under it, we'll just have to shoot for putting probably 2 tiles, like where that set of lockers are. 2 tiles all the way the length of it.
So eventually it's gonna be all the lockers around.
Eventually, but we're not talking, that's
Yeah,
So it's just, we're starting.
In the newer parts of the school, those lockers are recessed into the wall more, and they're in actually pretty good shape. So like, just getting the old lockers would be.
Are you signed locker?
you're not. They have Chromebook now, and then they have.
What's the point for keeping lockers, right?
I don't see Chromebooks going away. I don't see, like I said, we're using consumables now mostly, so. It keeps the flow of the traffic with, kids walking down the hallway, and it's not cluttering up the hallway, it keeps the movement going.
It'd give you more room.
It gives us a little bit more room in the hallway. Like I said, I'd like to start with that set, and then I would like to move, my next vision would be moving up to the upper hallway and getting rid of those on the upper hallway there. And those are both worst sets that we have in the building. And then slowly, get rid of them. But, I mean, we're not talking, that's gonna happen all in one summer. I mean, we're talking, this may be a several year thing.
yeah, I think that our thing of it was, I spoke with Courtney and I just said, if we're gonna do it, let's, go on and get permission to do them, so we don't have to come back every single time to ask. So like, our goal is to remove the ones this year down there by their office, and then maybe get the ones up by the cafeteria. Those are the worst ones anyway, so if we could get those 2 sets, I'd be happy. Because that would give them a lot of extra room and stuff, and the ones up by the cafeteria are terrible. Doors
They
broken,
are. That's our worst sets.
So maintenance will be doing that, and inmates will be doing that. So it's just the only expense would be the tile that goes underneath them if they don't have tiles underneath them.
So the motion be just to start the process of removing all lockers.
Okay. All right, item number 13 is the request for the board to purchase new scoreboards for the gymnasium at County High School.
Okay, I have sent, sorry, go ahead, Mel.
Okay, so that was addressed to me about the scoreboard. They were wanting to replace the scoreboard. I did ask the question, was it running? They said yes. But then Colin sent me a email back that there was 20-something bugs out in it. And that it is, that many years old and stuff. So I'll let Lydia speak on, what they found out about a price and everything.
I don't know, I think it was 24,000 roughly. I think I sent you the pictures of the 2 scoreboards. Is that price in there? That was for one scoreboard that is the full size with everything on it. Players' name, like their number, all that. And then one that is the same as what we currently have. The scoreboards we do currently have, we are pretty sure.
We didn't get any of that.
I don't have any
I don't
of
have that
that.
either. All we have is
An email request says,
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send it to you now. The scoreboards that we currently have, we believe are original to the school. There are 29 bulbs currently out. The guy that fixes our scoreboard and does the repairs on it, he has told us at this point, the bulbs, the backs are melted. We at this point can no longer make any repairs to the scoreboards. So, I will send y'all that. We do have, like I said, 29 bulbs out. One scoreboard is in worse condition than the other. One of the scoreboards, I can't remember if it's on the home side or the visitor side. To me personally, there are some bulbs missing, but it is not, it's still readable. The other scoreboard is in a lot worse shape. So, here, I've got it now. I'm gonna share that with all of y'all.
So you can't replace the bulbs.
We can no longer
Who
make
is this guy? Your scoreboard guy?
this.
I mean, have you asked another scoreboard guy?
Exactly.
His name, Jeff Hamlin, is our scoreboard. Bulbs don't connect to the spots anymore, is what he said. So I don't know if they don't make those bulbs for those, because it's so old, if they just don't make those bulbs for it.
Well, we didn't know that. We didn't know if it can be repaired by somebody else. Somebody can't fix the back connection. If it's electrical product. I don't know. I gotta have more than that. They work. I think spending $24,000 on
That's
sale.
one scoreboard.
No, ma'am, that's what.
Okay.
I like a touchdown club project. Or basketball or whatever you got. Somebody needs to get together and try to raise some money for this. I don't get it.
Thank you for sending that, Lydia.
She sent it to me.
I'm doing it right now. I thought I had sent it, but I did not.
For a moment.
When that comes through, let's look at that.
I'm
And
doing it now.
be sure we review that for Thursday night. So,
Total price, 2,100. Not 2,100, 21,900. 29 bulbs are out, and according to the man that does our scoreboards, they cannot be fixed due to the age. Company will install and do maintenance with a 5-year warranty. Colin has, the same company has done his scoreboard at baseball. He said he's had that one for 10 years with no issues with it. And then I've attached the pictures of the two scoreboards. And then the quote. So it looks like one scoreboard, probably the one that has all the stuff on it, is 11,430. And then just the regular scoreboard, what we currently have, is $4,600. And then you've got the control panel and shipping and stuff like that. So it looks like a scoreboard like what we currently have is $4,600. Did it come through?
Mhm.
Okay.
So if the decision was made to purchase new scoreboard, you don't have to bid that out, like you?
Yes. If it's 24,000, you would have to bid that out.
25,000.
Yeah.
You just have to have 3 quotes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's over 10,000, you have to have 3 quotes.
Would it, and I mean, I don't know if we could still get it in the same color. I mean, would it be a possibility of maybe doing one, like maybe and divide it out, maybe one this year and one next year, possibly? And that would give us time to see if we could get any donors, possibly. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas
My question would be on that, would be the compatibility with
because of the
the
box. Yeah.
box. That would be my question.
Mhm.
So everybody can see the scoreboard on the right-hand side? or the left-hand side?
You can see it, it's just, we have quite a few, like I said, bulbs out. It looks
No,
like
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about visually, you're sitting in a seat, everybody can't turn their head and see that same
they
point.
could see one. Yes, sir.
Just a thought.
You're talking about just buying one scoreboard, one new one for the whole gym. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if it's feasible, I don't know if it's feasible. But
Well, I think the problem, I think from the fan standpoint, it would be fine, but I think from the player standpoint, they can't look up and see the clock and the score and time running out and stuff like that.
I think
So,
you gotta have one
yeah.
on both ends.
Yeah. I think that.
Could
would
you
be an
have
issue.
one of the, I think I've seen this in gym, one of the really nice ones on one side that has all that player information, and then the cheaper one on the other side.
That's what they had put in there.
Yeah.
The really nice one was like 11,000 and then just the regular one was like 48.
Okay, okay.
So that's the regular.
Yes, sir. That's what we currently have.
Any more questions for me? Thank you very much. We're gonna close out with Melanie stuck with item number 20. That's to approve to pull up damaged plastic flooring on the bleachers and stain it at the Kenny County Elementary Middle.
Okay, so a lot of that plastic is, starting to wear. So we did tear up a couple of pieces last year and the year before, so people wouldn't trip in it. So it is a trip hazard. So actually Lynn started the process because one was so bad and she just took it on up and it's got wood decking underneath it. So they just asked if they could pull up all of the gray. And we had already checked on redoing that. I think it's gonna be like $70,000 last year when I asked the company, could they come in and put the new, matting back down? And it's plastic, it's not even rubber if you've walked on it before. But it was gonna cost like $70,000 for that company that does our inspections every year. So I think opting out and trying this is a much better option because the other one worked fine last year that we pulled the, stuff off of. And I think if we tried and stain it, I think it'll be fine. And that's what Jason and them's actually wanting to do. They're gonna do that part. I'm gonna buy the stain for them and maintenance will help as much as we can, helping them do that as well. But I think it is a safety issue. If they get their foot caught in that, then
And you just can't clean it either. It gets found.
no, you can't, I mean, you can't even clean it because it's just terrible material. You can't even clean it. It's just a bad design to me.
What color stain you think about, same as the flooring, the
I just figured something light, not dark, because I think if you go dark, it's gonna make that gym look a lot darker, so I think as light as
More
possible.
like a polyurethane.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't get water damage if you cleaned it.
So it would just be the stain, the rollers, and some plastic to go under the bleachers while
Yeah.
we do it.
At every game, there are at least 3 people who trip up, and I'm usually one of them. So, at least 3 people, I mean.
Well, talking about tripping, this has puzzled me. I've seen it at least 3 times at ball games. Older people like me. Those rails going up,
Mhm.
they're all fluctuated, they flop around. I've seen 3 women fall.
Well, now, they come every year to inspect, so
You just
when they
replace
come,
two.
they did, we replaced 2 of them last year, and they tighten everything up, that's what they get paid good money for, they inspect our
So they're all
double.
supposed to go like this, right? Not like that.
Right.
Right, yes, they go like that, and then when you put the bleachers in, they do turn sideways.
And
In
there's a
order for your
button on
bleachers to go in,
Yeah.
it turns, so I think just in shutting and opening all the time,
Yeah.
it loosens those up. Because it's just, again, not a great design, but that's how it has to be, they're supposed to be straight, but then when they push the bleachers in, they turn like this. Well, every time they do that, those nuts and bolts are getting loose, and that's why they're, loose, but no, the company actually takes care of all of that every year, so.
And
we've
it's
already-
used
I've
a
already-
lot, it's used a lot that gymnasium is. That's another thing down the road, y'all gonna have to think about refinishing that floor.
Oh, yes, terrible.
It's used for everything.
All right, thank you, Melanie.
You're welcome.
For all that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I don't think the other one that you asked, that's just CTE, that'll be Crystal,
That'll be Crystal.
doing the band room, but they're not gonna do the art.
Perfect.
Thank y'all.
That was a good segue into that, because that is the next item. So thank you, guys. So number 8 is to approve permission to remove the cabinetry at the middle school art room for new CT furniture and equipment. And this was tabled from April and May.
And we're moving to the band room instead, so.
And that's room 501, right?
Room 501. How much is gonna have to be removed out of there? What is it? It's not much in there.
There's nothing in there.
I didn't think so.
Nothing maintenance will have to be done there at all. I can just go.
And band will go on the stage.
So you just need permission to move your equipment into that room, nothing to remove.
I mean, yeah,
You're not gonna mess with the art room.
No.
They can
No.
still have that.
correct.
Cool.
We won't have a
There's
band
nothing
room
to do, yeah, I mean,
anymore?
there's nothing that
We won't have any what?
A band room anymore?
We only have 2 classes of it right now, and they're not full. And Tammy and I looked at scheduling for next year, and there's not a huge pull for band. If there is a band class, or if we have Mr. Guppy come over, he'll go on the stage in the cafeteria.
We don't have the sounding for that, soundproofing and all that.
They could also be in the CTU lab, I guess, if that was, but that's my,
Because it was built for band, for,
And I will say the cafeteria has the same sound walls that the band room does too. Not that it's, but you're not taking down the sound things, right?
no.
So it will remain a band room. It's just gonna have extra equipment in it for that.
And everything I buy is much, like it's moved.
Everything is movable, and I think that's, and I missed saying that when we discussed it earlier. It's always been modular, so it could be moved anywhere, but, if we have band, it will go on the stage or the CTU. It'll remain in the CTU room.
Okay.
One of the two.
I don't think we need to move them out of the band room. It was built for that, it needs to be that.
You're only in there though 2 periods.
Right.
You got 2 classes. So if you're on a schedule of 7 classes, you've got 5 periods. You could use it for this CTE project until y'all come up and decide on your building plan. And if you're going to use that school as a true middle school, the whole school, then you're going to have plenty of room to move that CTE equipment to another place to have that CTE wing and have your art and have your music and other things. So I think it's a good Band-Aid for the present time, especially since we need to spend this money because this grant is up this year, this next school year. We've got to
I
use
think the
money.
solution works without doing anything extremely drastic.
You don't have to
before we
remove
know
anything.
about the building.
So we don't even have to do anything.
You don't even have to,
Number
you don't even have to, you can just say,
Done.
Number 9 tonight, thank you very much. Number 9 is to discuss additional bonuses for certified and non-certified staff not covered by the 24-25 one-time teacher bonus funds from the state. This was tabled from May.
okay, you approved to accept the money for those on the list. And I gave you a document last board meeting that showed you how many people would not be receiving the funds. And that, actually, we submitted that on time, so those on the list that are in T and Compass that are marked as teachers and are full-time teachers would receive that $2,000 bonus. We have one individual that's on that list that's marked as a teacher, but they do not spend their 100% of their time face-to-face with children. So we have to go in and mark that and send it to the state this month And so they won't be receiving that money because they are going to audit this to make sure that we're meeting the criteria that the state has sent. I will tell you that it's probably 50-50 across the Upper Cumberland, what the other school boards are doing. Some school boards have approved that everybody got $2,000. Some are not, they just don't have the money to do that. I gave you some options, if you wanted to do, non-certified so much, and I gave you the options, but you can see it's going to cost you money, and this is going to have to be a budget amendment after our budget passes. It'll have to go across the street in July, and if you decide to do anything else, you can decide not to do anything, and just those that are on that list will get the money. This is another thing that the state has passed down that is really making a controversy, a hardship, because I think everybody deserves bonuses. They work hard. Everybody. I've told you my thoughts in the last board meeting. Our administrators work hard. Our nurses work hard. Everybody in the central office works hard. I think they all deserve it. But you know how our budget looks, too. And so I gave you the amounts. That's all I can do at this point. It's a hard decision. I know Putnam County said it was going to cost them almost $3 million if they tried to cover all the people that weren't covered. 2 million something. It was ridiculous because they have so many employees. But a budget like Pickett County, they gave everybody the bonus, but it's still a hardship on them because that's taking money out of their reserves that may have to be used for something else. So, I did not like this resolution. I didn't like where it came from, but I'm not turning down money that they send. So we did submit it on time. We will be receiving that money that's listed in July, less one person on that list.
When will that money go to the teachers, in July? Or
whenever Douglas can
okay,
make that happen. So there was all kinds of criteria that had to be met. We still have to send a document. I think that we should be getting it next week. So we'll have to go back through that document one more time and send it. So,
anybody have anything they'd like to say? I like this money. I believe everybody deserves. That's another, like she's saying, it's mandated and passed down, and we still got to figure out how to pay for it.
and it will be those that were employed this year, not
next year.
next year.
I would agree with you too, Ms. Bonnie. I think everybody works very hard for the students at Canyon County and deserve this. It's one of the things that's not really fun to look at is the financial side of this when there's something like this that comes up. Wade and Jessica, do y'all have anything?
No.
Number 10 is the removal of cabinetry at Canyon County High School in this for a STEM lab remodel. I believe that's Ms. Christie.
And I did speak to Melanie about this, and I know that her summer's full. So what we're wanting to do in that lab is pretty much the same thing. Remove all the old cabinetry along the sides and the back.
Mm-hmm.
She's missing several doors, and they're older.
Okay.
And while we have the funds, what I would like to do is gut that room, lay new flooring, brand new cabinets, and have like sections set up, robotics, just kind of all kind of like a circuit in there, and still space for her classroom.
Mm-hmm.
If Melanie's team's not able to get to it this summer, I can hire that out within my grant. why she didn't need to stay, because, there's 2 water taps in there.
There's water all the way down
Yeah,
those.
and
all the
that-
way
and that
down.
left side.
And at one point, there may have been a gas line too. We'll have to look.
But that's still something that I can hire out if I need to. So her team doesn't have to. If she can't get to it.
I think the gas line's up there on that teacher.
It's at that teacher.
Yeah, the teacher
desk.
Mhm.
That's my old classroom, so I know that really well.
Sorry, I'm trying to cut it.
Well, no, those cabinets, they were,
They're cabinets, right.
They were rough.
On both of those rooms, 201 and 205.
they've served their purpose.
They've been as well. While we have the funds, I would love to bring it up to speed.
Thank you. All right, that means we move down to number 14. Okay, we've covered the number 14. It's for the approval for the Touchdown Club to sell alumni bricks.
So we need approval that the bricks that are sold, so like if Lydia Garrett bought an alumni brick, we need a place to put it. And so me and Mr. Nichols have went down there, we've looked, I've been working on gradually getting concrete going up, but we're not really thrilled about the idea of trying to put it in the pavement, the walkway. So we've talked about possibly doing them on 2 columns on each side of the entrance of the main gate going down to the football field. And this is for any alumni, so it doesn't have to be just football players, it can be any alumni from Canyon County High School. If we sell enough bricks that they have more than just the 2 columns, me and Mr. Nichols had talked about kind of like if you're walking into the football field on the right side, having that column there and almost having it like a little retaining wall with the bricks going out and having like almost like an alumni wall, so to speak, right there. But just something, I think they can make money off of it. They want to sell the bricks, but it is changing and adding something to the field and the facility. So just looking for your approval. I believe they're wanting to talk to Mr. Ray Patrick about carpentry, doing the bill on that, so that the kids, that CTE class would actually be building and doing the masonry on that.
I think that's awesome.
So I guess my thought is, you're not asking, the approval to sell the brick has to come through just the fundraising approval.
So
form.
The
You're
construction.
actually asking to approve the construction of using the bricks.
Yes.
So that's what the motion will need to be, because they're actually wanting to build something with these bricks, right?
Yes.
So this is tied strictly to football?
It's a touchdown club fundraiser.
So
But
they get the funds.
yes, sir.
It's a great way to generate funds. I've seen other schools do it for different reasons. And sometimes it can go and help the building in some ways. Sometimes it's used for scholarships, and we need funds. So I can understand. It would be great to generate funds for it.
Ideally, if you could get enough bricks sold, you could take the whole chain link fence down and just have all of that down through there.
Yep.
You know, bricked behind the bleachers there, so you'd have a whole wall of, which would make a really nice entrance to the,
Yep.
down to the field, making that look more appealing, I guess, in some ways, but that's way down the road.
They got an intended price of what it's gonna cost, somebody to buy a brick?
I believe the touchdown club has that information. I don't know.
It'll be on the fundraiser request form when they turn it in. It should be.
Kind of look like this is a project, they should have been here.
But like the actual fundraiser, like that's not us.
No.
That's not us.
This is just
I
the
just need to know
construction.
if they're.
We need to know if we can construct. Yep. Thank you very much. Number 15 is to approve the food service budget for 26.
Food service will still be self-sustained through the next school year, which just means we won't require any funds from the school board. We'll all still remain free. We're on that 5-year cycle. I'm not really sure what path that's gonna take in the future. I do believe there's gonna be significant changes, but we'll roll with that and, it'll be fine. Do y'all have any questions for me on that? And the next item underneath that is
You go ahead.
Thank you. We are just wanting to change banks, and this is just being transparent. I just wanted to bring it before the board so you're aware, and if you have an issue with it, we won't do it, but we're just getting lots of fees through Old National, and we're unable to get all the deposit books we need before we were able, the bank gave those to us. We go through a lot of deposit slips. We usually go like almost every day. So it's just become just an issue with that and the fees. And I think the principals can speak to that too. They actually just changed. So I just want to make you aware that.
You actually don't have to approve
No,
this.
you don't.
She just wanted it to be on the board so that you knew what they were doing and why they were doing it.
Thank you very much. for letting us know.
School funds are already there anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I found that the hard way one day, trying to find what bank our funds are in. Those, every bank in
Well, I don't
town
know
would
that
be
the
the
general
last
fund's
one.
there yet, nor I think.
They're
going to
getting
that,
ready.
yeah.
Yeah, they're on their way. I mean, they're in the process.
All right. Number 17 is the approval of purchases through the Buy Board National Purchasing Cooperative Agreement under the Canyon County Finance Department. Ms. Barnes?
I think Ms. Mullins is speaking.
So it is a cooperative just to streamline our purchases without having to go through the bid process. The county commissioners have actually already approved this that you have in your packet. And then a next step for us to be able to purchase it through county finance department is for you to approve it as well. We do currently have Curriculum Associates, which is a program that we use in our schools. So it will allow us to continue on it without bidding it out every year. And there's a variety of other things that we would also have the opportunity to purchase without going through the bid process.
And there is a new law that we learned about yesterday at Fall Creek Falls, that even if we use a something like Buy Board or Sourcewell or whatever, we have to look to make sure that vendor did go through a bid process and they are using the cheapest price. So they're going to have to conform to that too.
Correct.
So just to be transparent, they are going to have to conform to that so that we can buy from them. So
When I went through my procurement rule, that was in the audit, but there was like I hadn't used them, but if you had to go through all those steps in that.
And I think they really spoke specifically, Ms. Bonnie, to capital projects,
yes.
buildings, roofs, things of that nature, that we have to ensure that those purchasing cooperatives have met the criteria required.
That'll be it. Mr. Matt Mackins, I told them I'm going to send them the TSBA webinar on all the new policies so that when you get that packet, you won't be so overwhelmed. And that's in that packet.
And this is actually also approved by TSBA. It is on their website, the Buy Board and all that as well.
Thank you, Ms. Kathy. And then number 18.
That's not
yours.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is our yearly disposal of things that we have to do, an audit of all of the things that's been purchased through Title I funds. And in order before we can actually dispose of them, we have to have board approval. So these at Cannon North and Cannon South are the two schools that have items that are no longer working and broken. So you have that listed in your packet as well.
Anybody have any questions for her on that? Thank you very much. All right, number 19 is to approve the cell phone policy.
Oh, yes.
Wireless
This
communication.
is national attention. We've talked about this before. I know Mr. West came last meeting and spoke with you a little bit about some options that other school districts have, are doing. Miss Julie and Mr. West went to Warren County, talked to them extensively. You have two policies here, an A and a B. One completely says phones have to be put up, completely during school day. That means during lunch, during hall breaks, during everything. And the other one says they're put up during instructional time. That's not the policy we have. Our principals probably have some opinions about this. I would ask that you talk to them because they're going to have to live it. So I'm going to put the floor to them if that's
Please.
okay.
Please do.
Principals?
I'm happy to speak. It doesn't bother me.
Middle high.
I'm going to tell you that we need to have a policy that has teeth in it. Because I've spoken with the principal at Huntington High School, which is in West Tennessee. And they did this a couple of years ago. They just banned them completely. I mean, the whole day. He said it was very rough the first 2 months of school. And he said that after that, it leveled out and everything else went very smooth. And I asked him about how has it been as far as discipline wise, as far as, I'm going to use this term loosely, harassment, bullying, whatever, because it's not always bullying of what it is. But anyway, with that being said, he said 1,000% it's better that they don't have the cell phones, period. And very positive about it and says he loves it. And now I talked to another principal in West Tennessee and he said that they don't allow them during instruction time. They don't allow earbuds in the hallways either, because he said that's a safety issue. I'm going to tell you from the standpoint on vaping. 2 or 3 years ago, we had a huge problem with vaping until we changed the policy. We still catch people that it doesn't happen. But our numbers drastically dropped when we made a policy that was very strict, and that it not only inconvenienced the parents, but it, when the kids are having to do a 2-hour tobacco class, and then they're having a Saturday school. When we put teeth into that policy, it dropped it down from probably 30 vapes a year down to, I think we probably have caught 12 this year. So, I mean, it cut it in half. I strongly encourage you guys to put a policy in place that has teeth in it that will help us in the end, because if, like Ms. Bonnie said, we already have a policy that says that they can't use it during instruction time. They're still going to be using it during the hallways. They're still going to be using it in lunch. All of these things that are still going to go on, period. So we need to make sure that if we can reduce those distractions as much as possible, I think we're better. Do I think the yonder bags are the solution? It can work. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the route we need to go and spend $30,000 on that. I'm first just saying no cell phones, period, from 7:45 to 3 o'clock.
Now, there is exceptions. If you read
Except for
that
you have,
policy,
medical
there's
reason.
medical, there's, well, you can read the policy. It tells you the exceptions. It was based off of Warren County. He testified before the General Assembly. And if you got a moment, you can go back and find that video and listen to it. But Miss Julie, you visited Warren County. What did you find out there?
In meeting with Mr. Falls, in fact, the chairman of their school board is the one that brought it, that really pushed for this, the device situation. And he said the same thing. Of course, they didn't have their yonder bags at the beginning of the year, so that made it more difficult. he said some places used a metal cabinet that the kiddos turn it in at the beginning of the day and then they get it back at the end of the day. They had some issues with that in some places, just due to, or not issues, but thoughts of, well, if something happens, how are these kids going to get their phones if they needed them, if there was some sort of emergency that happened at the school. He offered to have the chairman of the school board come and speak with you all to share his thoughts around getting to that point of wanting this, the devices being put up during the day. And he said it's the same thing. His discipline has gone down as far as all of those bullying, harassment, those situations as well. You know, he said it's not perfect, but it's helped the instructional time, and they're hoping to see, of course, at the end of the year with the testing, some improvement with some scores, and the students not having that like we all do. You know, we sit here and we have our phone out and it's constantly going off. And so they're hoping to see a payoff on that side of it as well. So it's more than just keeping the discipline issues down, but also having those students actually engaged in the classroom.
I would also like to add that the principal at Huntington said that kids were allowed to be kids again. And they were interacting with one another again, and they didn't have that distraction. You go with a yonder bag, you go with, you know, hey, they got to put it in a pouch, whatever, XYZ. These kids are going to put burner phones in those bags. They're going to put burner phones in those pouches.
And he said kids are smart. And so,
They were doing that 10 years ago.
And they have, you know, some that try to use a magnet to get the yonder bags open. I mean, it was amazing, the stories that he had. But, and he has expectations for the teachers as well, that their phones aren't out either, that they're teaching class.
It has to absolutely be, I think,
Yes.
an
Yeah,
entire.
Across the board.
Across, yes, and he has addressed that with the staff as well, that their phones are not out also. They're put up.
Huntington's
And
principal
he-
discussed that too.
I'm sorry, about
The staff,
faculty.
yes.
He did. I touched on that a little bit with him, and he just said, you know, I just set that expectation. That he said, I did not take tell them they can't have it out. But he just said, look, we're just not going to have the phones out. He just set that expectation.
Right.
So.
So you don't think the bags are necessarily a great idea?
I'm not saying, I'm torn. And I'm torn on that because like I said, I know kids are going to put those.
It was easier on dismissal. I will say that. Grant, I talked with him about this and he just said dismissal was a nightmare the first 2 weeks. I actually lived a little bit of that because my grandson goes to school in Warren County and the buses were delayed because of trying to get phones back to kids. It's just a new protocol. Any new protocol you got to work the kinks out of it. When they went to the yonder bag, yes, you're going to have people trying to do that, but you're going to have them even if you don't use the yonder bag. You're going to carry an extra phone somewhere. The yonder bag just keeps principals and teachers from going crazy on trying to, take up phones all during the class period. If you want to save instructional time, then we've got to help them in the process because you're going to lose instructional time trying to take up a phone. We lived that when I was at the high school. They just need to know something because they're going to have to get their procedures in place in July very quickly. I know Miss Julie needs to get on that so that this can go in handbooks and we can do some PR with parents. One way or the other. But phones cannot be out. So even if you don't go with A and you go with B, whichever one is which, Cannon County parents need to know that phones cannot be on during instruction time. That's a state law. It has nothing to do with what decision you make. That's a state law. Cannot be on. And there will be punishment if they are on. So either way, that's gonna happen. It's just up to you whether you do something with teeth that helps our administrators. They already have enough on their plate.
And for the middle school, it is our biggest problem. It is the root of everything. It is the root of all the gossip. I mean, it's the root of everything bad at the middle school, so. I'm with Courtney, you gotta do it. I know I'm on my way out, but I'm just gonna say it like it is. It's a problem. It's, and I think at the middle school, you're gonna have more impact than the high school. Because the high school, you can reason, we have middle schoolers with 2 burner phones. I had one the other day at summer school. So, yeah, you take a phone out, he has 2 more. It's a middle schooler. And it is a constant battle that we are fighting. And parents want us to solve what happens at night at school. That happens all the time. Well, they did this last night. I was asleep, so.
Courtney, do you think, looking back, with vaping, seemed like when we got into the parents' pocketbooks, it was a big deterrent.
It was.
I think that's what you're going to do here, you go back to work.
You're gonna have to pass this policy, and then they're gonna have to come up with procedures.
I think that's where we're at. And I think I can come up with a procedure that is, a Huntington, for instance, they call them, if they, first offense, they call it with the phone, the student, got the phone back at the end of the day, but they had to serve 2 hours of after-school detention. Second offense was, same punishment. The student got it back at the end of the day. They had to serve 2 hours of after-school detention. Third offense, parent had to come up. They had to do after-school detention. Fourth offense, it was the parent had to come up and get the phone. Fifth offense was alternative school. He said, I never made it to that step. He said, I only made it to the 3rd step with any of the students. So I think we can kind of come up with that, like you're saying, with that punishment of, you get caught with this is what you're gonna have to do. But if we don't do something, we're gonna still be in the same boat that we were, as far as, because like the policy reads now, it can't be out during instruction time. So they're gonna have them out in the hallways and then in the lunchroom.
You have
And what happens there bleeds into instruction.
It's going,
There you go.
it's gonna happen.
And you have safety grant money. I think Bill has already looked into that. If you decide, whatever you decide, you can use, but.
We had talked, I was just gonna say, we had talked about the yonder bags as far as implementing the middle school and then maybe the 9th grade. And that way you didn't invest so much money. That'd be half of it. I'm torn on that. I think it's all or none.
That's gonna get you in hot water.
Yeah, I think you do it all or none. And you just.
Now, the elementary school, I know at Warren County, they do not do the yonder bags, but, their phones are taken up and, they keep them.
I agree. I don't think that elementary would need the bags.
They give them to the parent one time, second time they keep them, and you get them at the end of the year.
And we had,
My grandson does not take his phone.
yeah, for years had baskets at the first class, and then they'd stay in there locked in the closet all day. And it's not a problem.
We also get into liability, I think, because a lot of these phones are property of parents.
You can take them.
So, yeah, but we also gotta look at lawsuits.
You're not going to be sued because I've already checked into that. I actually had a parent call the police on me when I was at the high school and was going to get a warrant served. And you can't because you have procedures and policies and parents understand they sign that rule book. So that's already been tried through court. That's happened before. You're giving them back to them. I think his policy that he's saying that they're getting them back. But they've been told you can't bring them. I mean, it would be the same thing if they brought a weapon to school or we take those up, the police take those and destroy them. But we don't do that with phones. They get them back. The parent gets them back. It's actually the parent's property.
It was also brought up as far as the concern about the safety. Parents want to get in touch with their kids. With that being said, we have an office phone they can contact We also have, the principal at Huntington also said that there is an app on the Chromebook or whatever, if the parents had to get in touch with them. I'm not thrilled about that, because I don't want that either, because that's a distraction in itself.
Mhm.
So I think, once again,
You have to put in here, in both policy, how they're gonna get
how we're
in
gonna, how
touch with
they get in touch with
emergency.
the emergency.
I was gonna say, you start getting into if, power goes out, phone lines go down. You start, there's emergencies, you start getting into some of this stuff. You go back, look at
We also have emergency procedures.
covenant stuff. I mean, I want to get a hold of my child. Parents want to get a hold of. A lot of things were cut down on time because of the students inside the buildings being able to get out to discuss things. It cut down on time. We have a lot of that too. I don't think the bags, it's just a heavy magnet. You can get those. Anybody can get those.
And they have.
So,
Warren County says he's getting them on Amazon.
to me, that is a waste of money. Like I said, we've already talked about budget. We have teachers that deserve the money more.
So we just have to vote on the policy and then
They do procedures.
I like the idea, like we said, we do have, instructional time, and that's exactly the bill. Same thing, we've already got instructional time only. And like you said, like vaping, when you start getting, discipline, so that's what we need to work at. I mean, we're in a technology world. Some teachers, they use, we're limited on the Chromebook, on certain websites, certain things, and teachers may say, hey, go to this or that. You can't do their stuff.
And it's
So,
also,
you get into a lot of different things.
it's also on there though that, teachers can ask for permission to use the phone for instruction. And there's a whole nother bill on kids getting on, certain sites. We heard that yesterday. Social media sites such as YouTube and things of that sort. They're gonna have to get special permission to be able to do that. Those all have to be banned. So, there's lots of bills for y'all to read that are connected. But you have two policies here. You have an A and you have a B. And it'll be up to you to decide which one you want to go with. And then it'll be up to Miss Julie and her principals to come up with the procedures. But we need to get this done so they can have time to get this out and get the message out to parents.
So with the option of during instructional time, that means I go to first period, I give my teacher my phone. At the end of first period, she gives it back. So I can still go in the bathroom and do.
You still use it in the hallway and still use it at lunch,
Okay.
because that's not instructional time.
Okay.
You're gonna have kids asked to go to the bathroom, and they're gonna spend 20 minutes.
This is what you have now. This is what you have.
We have now. And,
Or we have three lunches.
I've
So
noticed a lot of the kids in cafeteria would use their phone at Crystal's for Apple Pay or whatever. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't, I'm just saying they use something for that at lunch. I've seen a lot of that there. I don't use anything like that.
So we'll have kids at lunch, like the first lunch, and all my friends are on the second lunch, I'm gonna text my friends and say, hey, meet me in the bathroom at such and such time. So they go back to class, and even though that kid gave the teacher their phone back, well, they've already texted, hey, meet me in the bathroom. So now they're going to the bathroom, the kid,
They can still do that before school, go, hey, this time, and they're still gonna be able to. It's not completely cutting it out. You can still come up with those at nighttime, whatever, arrange that.
And this is not only phones, this is
Gaming
smart
devices.
watches, gaming devices, it's got a whole list.
Well, I mean, we have to choose one way or the other, because it's a state.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Like getting me right in the eye there for a minute. Yes, it's a state law, so you're going to have to make a determination.
And
And it has to be done this month
Yes.
because it goes into effect this school year.
July 1st.
So if we choose the option during instructional time, that would be the teachers in that room's responsibility too, because I'm just gonna be honest with you. My daughter, Ada, who just graduated, she texts me all day long, all day long. So, and to the point where I'm like, are you learning anything in school? Because you're texting me all day long. So, I mean, I blame her because she's the one texting me. She knows the rules. But at the same time, I'm like, why is your teacher not saying, hey, put your phone up? I mean, I'm not blaming the teacher.
No.
I'm blaming my kid, you know. So
That's also a major problem in our school, for middle school at least, is there is inconsistency. And you
Right.
can't really count, I mean, that's.
because now there were sometimes she's like, well, I'm about to go to such and such period. I can't have my phone in there, you know.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
I guess that's where I'm saying, if
right.
you make that policy across the board,
Yes.
it's done.
As looking at it from y'all's standpoint, I see, you know, for the entirety of the school day, like I see that. From a mother's standpoint, I'm just a little bit torn. Because I mean, I'll be completely honest. I mean, there's times when I would text Ada and be like, you know, hey, I need you to go get Audrey, or I need this, or, you know, just something like that. I mean, I have. I'll be completely honest. So, I don't know.
Or a central office, if every parent says, hey, there's a change in who's picking you up, this and the other, that phone could be ringing off the hook.
But at the same time, I feel like it would be a good thing, because when you're taking, I feel like when the kids are allowed their phones and they're taking them in the bathroom, that's where you're,
It is absolutely.
yes, and you know, you're taking pictures of other kids and you, without their permission, and you know, things like that.
I
And
think
that's where you're,
either policy is going to work if everyone holds everyone accountable.
yes.
What you need for the teachers and staff. too.
Everybody, because I know that Grant said the first couple of weeks, he had to discipline as many teachers as he did students.
I've seen teachers post on social
I've
media.
seen them posting on
parents
Facebook,
Contact
yes.
other teachers during school day instead of email and stuff, so I mean, it's a.
When you have a distraction in a classroom, 25 years ago, 20 years, whatever you want to say. Yeah, most of the time that was, I'll use it, it was a student. It was a student that was misbehaving, the class clown. The child that wanted attention. What happened to that child? That child, 9 times out of 10, if I'm right, everybody, that child was removed from the classroom.
Yes.
Hands down, the biggest distraction in any classroom, in any school, anywhere, in any hallway is a cell phone.
Amen.
It causes major issues, social emotional issues, and the sole purpose of a school is to educate. And we're not doing that with that big distraction in that building at any purpose. On my desk, on a kid's desk, in a pocket, anywhere. We're not. We're not educating to the full extent that we need to.
It's grants. I'm glad that you brought out social emotional, and I was going to speak to something that Mr. Nichols said about the principal who said kids could be kids, and they're communicating verbally with one another. If you're familiar with the book, The Anxious Generation, there is research that's showing students' access to social media around the clock is actually contributing to mental health issues. Since COVID shut us down and we have come back to school, we have seen so many more mental health issues. So I was wondering and curious if Grant spoke to that as well, Dr. Swallows in Warren County. Have they seen, did they speak to that at all in the rationale for choosing to be no cell phone?
That was one of the areas that the chairman of the board spoke to.
And they were also I think, Ms. Jessica, you were talking about the, letting kids know and getting messages. They have something very specific and rolled it out as far as, yes, you're making parents, we're gonna notify your child if they have to pick up their sister, or, and they have been very mindful of doing that. It's that they're not waiting until the very end of the day to hand out those notices. When they get, a few of them, then they're dispersing those to the students. So they're very mindful of making sure that they're getting those messages to those students, and at a quicker pace instead of waiting until the end of the day.
That's a distraction there to me, if you keep calling all the students to the office to get their messages.
They're not getting called to the office.
Or going to the classroom, that's a distraction too.
Right, but I'm just saying they're not calling them to the office. There's a certain time that they're getting them out, at a time when it's not as distracting as,
That goes back to them, you guys making the procedures
procedures. And
as to how it would
You
be.
can have that delivered to their last class today. Hey, when you have this kid in seventh period, here's a notice you need to give them about how they're getting home.
Or you could do that in between
In between classes,
You can
yeah.
do that at lunch.
I'll also add, because everyone probably made better points than what I can add, but at the high school, one of the things that I'm over is attendance. A lot of my high flyers, hey mom, I'm bored, can you call school and get me out? And if we stick with the same policy, then I do that in the hallway, I do that in the cafeteria, I do that wherever. If they don't have it out, period, that probably helps in that aspect as well, in keeping your kids there so that they can get that education.
I will say it was kind of funny, the Huntington principal brought up, he said, I've had kids that have come back into my office and say, so-and-so just posted something on Snapchat about me or whatever. And he said, how do you know that? Unless you had your phone out, give me your phone. Bam. And it just, like, so, that it stops a lot.
The amount of our day that is spent on so-and-so posted something about me last night, 2 weeks ago.
They didn't say my name.
They didn't, but I know it's about.
They said something in the comments.
Yeah.
And
But
then
it wasn't
then they're squabbling in the hallways and we're afraid they're gonna get in a fight. I mean, it's all the time.
Thanks to everybody giving their thoughts tonight. I think this is a great discussion. The four of us, the five of us have some thoughts to think through. I think a lot of different things to consider before Thursday night, but just like Miss Bonnie said, this needs to be taken care of. It has to be this month. So make sure that we do that. Thank you guys so much. Let's move on to 21, because we've already done 20. 21 is to finalize changes to the budget based on prioritized expenditures and projected revenues.
That would be our budget amendments that we will need to have a special call. We're at the end of the budget year, and you have to guesstimate what each line item is going to be. Insurance may not cost as much, or this year it costs more. So Douglas we just need to approve that he's able to go in and make those changes and then present those budget resolutions to you. I believe he's asked that we have a special call on the 23rd of June because our budget will go to the full committee, I believe, on June 24th. And or there will be a budget committee on the 24th. I don't know. I've got it written down in my calendar. But he needs to be able to get those budget resolutions to the commission to be approved so he can clear the budget out. Out of town on 23rd. Well, we need 3.
3. Jessica, can you be here on the 23rd?
He can't get payroll done next week.
Yeah.
We need 3 to be here on the 23rd for a special call.
You busy the 23rd?
Busy all the time.
My calendar's fixing
That
to look like
notebook
yours.
is pretty blank, I'm just saying. It's pretty blank, I'm just putting it out there.
Well, I hear you.
That notebook looks pretty blank, I'm just saying that way, I'm just saying.
Y'all better be talking to Derek.
I know. Before that, I'll,
Yeah, make sure. We need 3 there. But, there's no other date to do it because the commission meets on the 24th. And they're doing 2 payrolls. It's what they're trying to do next week.
we did not meet on the 20th.
I don't know if you can get them done. That's the
okay,
problem.
That's the problem. Okay, just want to make sure. All right.
He's stretching it to get them done by the 23rd.
Oh, what time?
Let me ask him tomorrow.
6 o'clock? Are we doing 6
And-
o'clock?
We can do it whatever time.
4:30 in the morning.
I don't think he can get them done by the 20th because I asked him about that.
Okay.
So the 23rd, but I will ask him again tomorrow. 5:15.
Let's hold our breath for Derek.
I started to say whatever time.
And
I
we'll
would
do
say
it-
5:15 or after for me. Is
Okay, 5:30, we can do it in the boardroom like we did our last special call.
fine. Whatever Derek, whatever time we can do.
We will. Okay. All right.
And there's a lot of policy that needs to be approved. Had you rather it wait to the July meeting? Or would it be okay if I put some of that policy that there's no discussion, it has to be done? Put it on the special call? I'd rather do that. I have it all done. There's nothing.
Yeah, they'd rather it too, they'd rather that too.
Talking here. It's policy that we can't change. It's state law.
It's stuff
You gotta do it. You gotta approve it. It's gonna be starting on July 1. So we have to do it. Now, there are some that we're gonna have to wait to July because it's gonna require input from other people before it comes to you. So
Okay.
that'll have to be
But
in
is it
July.
okay to do the stuff that's gotta pass?
I guess.
I'll make it easy, like I always do. Always give you a summary. I always highlight what's changed.
All right.
Okay.
All right, that moves us into, that took care of 21 and 22.
Yes.
That moves us into 23 tonight. Ms. Bonnie, you have anything for the director's comments tonight? Okay. 24 is the chair's comment, nothing tonight. We'll see everybody on Thursday night at Canyon County Elementary, Canyon County Middle in the cafeteria at 6 p.m. Thank you, and we are complete and thank you.
I thought it just meant,
Oh, you didn't see me? Okay.
I was having a